interested in understanding how that home process works.
Queensland has this really amazing equipment service, it turns out. So no matter where you are in Queensland, you should be able to get access to equipment through a referral to the equipment people through a GP, specialist palliative care service. Home looks different to everyone. So one thing, people get to the stage where they're really ill from the illness, they can no longer come to hospital, they want to be at home. I guess a community palliative care service comes and sees people at home, meets them. So just to give you examples of instance, a nurse and a doctor would come out usually and see you at home, have a chat to you about it, how things are going. And again, a community palliative care service has availability of people who can, like a counsellor. We have a physiotherapist, an occupational therapist who can come out, much more about function than about rehabilitation, but function. And then I guess there's some equipment, so you can get equipment like hospital beds, chairs sometimes, shower chairs, over the toilet chairs, things to help you function at home. The real challenge though is about personal care. That's the real challenge, because there's community nursing services which will come out and say shower people once a day, but that's only, at the maximum of half an hour to an hour a day usually. People get different aged care packages as well, depending on how old you are. And then palliative care services come in much more to see you about your symptoms, so not necessarily hands-on care, but are available to ring 24 hours, 7 days a week if needed. There's a whole other availability. I mean, you can pay for extra services if you want, but a lot of the care goes back to the family. And I think the really important thing to remember is it often ends up being 24-hour care, and not one person can do that, because no one can care for someone 24 hours a day. And that's where sometimes it falls a bit short, where people try that and they've just become exhausted. So if you can try and set up from the beginning to think, I'm going to need a break, I need someone else to help me out for some time. People have things like, people worry about bowels. That's a big thing that comes out, bowels and urine, and people, either have incontinence aids or have pads. And when you're relatively okay and functional, everyone hates the idea of that. From a caring point of view, people don't seem to mind that as much as a person. It's just, incontinence aids is a big thing. So that's one big thing the nurses try and deal with. The other things that are really hard for people is that people eat and drink less, and they think if only they eat and drink more, they would be better. But that's really hard, because part of the illness is people just have less appetite. I think one of the hardest things at home is this time between when you're functionally independent and can walk around and when you're dependent completely, and there's this time in between where everyone worries, they'll get up and they'll fall. And it's really hard, and people worry I don't want to be responsible for their falls. But in reality it just happens. No matter what you do, you have to accept that. Parents just want to be more and more independent, and they will not listen to their children about not getting up and around. Kids try and think if they tell their parents what to do, they'll do what they tell them. They will just not listen. They even come to me and say, can you tell my parent not to do this or that? And I say, yeah, sure, I'll go and tell them. But when you were a child, did you listen to your parent all the time? No. So why would your parent listen to you? I just don't get it, why you think that. I'm not to say you shouldn't tell your parent what you think, but parents will do what they want. And they want to maintain their independence. And I find it completely amusing in one hand, but I realise it's a real challenge. So I think, always just think about, just do your best. That's all you can do.